Carlos Ramirez, owner of NVS Audio in Roselle, New Jersey. So we got a brand new Bronco in for a wiring rescue. Client actually says it's my fault because he wanted to originally bring us the truck, but at the time we weren't doing cars. We were overbooked with bikes, so I wanted to concentrate on the bikes, so I didn't want to do the car. He ended up taking it to another shop that completely ruined the vehicle and chopped up the audio wiring. The bass sounded excellent, but the highs are terrible. The reason the highs were terrible, it's a brand new Bronco. It has the factory Bang and Olifsen system in it. It's actually a digital system from the factory. When this started first, it started in the Super Duty Fords, then it came down into some of the other Ford vehicles. It is the highest level trim of audio system you get in these trucks. So at the beginning, when they started doing it in Fords, it was tough to interface with because you needed a multi-channel DSP. You need to be able to tap the audio signal after it leaves the amp. The amplifier has all the speakers active, so the tweeters have their own channel and frequency. The mids have their own channel and frequency. The sub has its own channel and frequency. So then you have to take those signals and figure out how to mash them back together. Now, fast forward to 2023, you have several solutions. You have MoBridge, you have Nav TV Zen, you have Pack Amp Pro. So in this vehicle, we went with an Amp Pro. You actually remove the factory amplifier, plug the factory plugs back in. It will strip the audio signal from the factory radio and give you 6 RCA outputs or an optical output with un-EQ'd, untimeline, completely flat, 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. So it's basically as if you had put an aftermarket radio on the dash. So it was actually harder to do it the wrong way. The way they did it was way harder. They tapped the front kick panel speakers with a cheap line level converter. They put an EQ in the glove box and drilled a hole in the glove box. The reason the truck sounded so terrible, doing it this way, you're stuck with the factory EQ, you're stuck with the factory time alignment, and you can't change it. And then if you try and add your time alignment on top of more time alignment, your Bluetooth phone calls don't work properly, you get a ridiculous echo, and it doesn't sound good. They just tap the speakers, so the factory speakers are really, really small, and the tweeters are separated from the mid-range. So they ended up, we RTA'd it. They actually tapped signal that was high-passed, had no bass in it. So the highs were really, really bright. Then there was a giant gap between the highs and the bass. And then the sub sounded really good because they caught the factory sub signal and they built a nice enclosure. But this system sounded better as a factory system. They just made it louder. They didn't make it sound better. So we went with, on this one, we use an Amp Pro. And we use a Toslink output to go into a Hertz DSP. And then we didn't change the amplifiers. We kept the subwoofer enclosure. We got it to sound 100 times better, but it wasn't loud because they used some entry-level Rockford speakers. You'll see in the video, they chopped those up pretty good to get them to fit. So we upgraded to some Pro Audio Euphoria Expert Carbons. The truck sounds amazing now. They chopped up some 4-inch Rockford speakers to shoehorn them in the dash. We used the laser to cut a proper ABS mounting plate to mount our drivers in the dash. So the previous shop butchered up the Rockford 4-inch speaker to get it to fit in a 3-inch hole. They shaved all the way around and left 2 tabs. We fabricated them out on the laser. I'm going to drop our mid in place. So now it's a night and day difference. The wiring is perfect. They ran RCAs from the front of the truck, from the kick panels to the EQ, from the EQ all the way back to the truck, when the factory amplifier was in the back already. Literally, all they had to use was one of these interface modules, and they could use RCAs directly into the amplifier. It would literally been a 3-foot run of RCAs, but oh well. We fixed it. It's good to go now. Check it out. Okay, here we go again. This time is in a brand new Bronco. So cheap aluminum wire. Circuit breaker not mounted down. didn't bother putting the grommet back so you can see right inside when they ran the wires inside.
We'll come over here, you can see where they tapped in.
They snapped the tweeter off during the install and they glued it back. You see the glue all over the tweeter. Wires just loose and dangling. No covering on the wire. Where's the line converter? This is a $100,000 truck. They got a $20 line converter, butt connected to the speaker wire right there. This tweeter's destroyed too. This is how they caught signal from the factory amplifier. So a $20 converter, ran back. And then they got 1 amp on this side of the enclosure. One amp on this side of the enclosure. Notice there's no fuses back here, so it's just the one fuse in the front. So we have the mess back here. So one 4-gauge wire running from the front, split into 2 4-gauge, and these are aluminum, so it's not conducting the right amount of current. The amp on that side is a power series, which needs a 4-gauge by itself. Now they did all this. The crazy part is factory amplifiers right here. We're going to use an Amp Pro that takes signal from the factory amp and gives us digital signal into the DSP, and then the DSP goes to the amp. So there was no need to run these cheap RCAs all the way from the front to the back when the factory amp is right there. There's no need for all this. It actually worked harder to do it wrong. That's all coming out, and you'll see in a few minutes when we fix it.
Say what's done, she throwing that ass, she said quit running. I'm holding it back cause I don't want to net quick. But fuck you, really got nothing to hide, she know what's up with me. It started at 12:30, fucking at 3. Just hot, be sweating out bullets on me. I need something to drink, feel like a workout done. I'm doing my put workout on. I put a bath towel on the bed just to see the word out on it. So just stretch, hurt not done. Hurt I won't, I'm on. She like when I take a pill and take on. She go fuck every song. She got me. Baby, 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 baby. I made him send it off. It's for the fella. Baby, 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 baby.